YSL's Le Vestiaire collection of fragrances. Are you a fan of this collection? And did you catch my YSL Baby Cat review from yesterday? If you haven't caught that, go catch it. It's featured in this video. We're doing a top 10 YSL or Yves Saint Laurent Le Vestiaire collection fragrances video today. If you're curious to find out about them, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today I'm talking about YSL's Le Vestiaire collection fragrances. Baby Cat was a fragrance that I've been wanting to get. Finally, I have it. And yesterday I launched the review for it. In addition to the review, which I really love the fragrance, there's definitely an alternative of that fragrance. In fact, today I'm going to give you the second alternative for that fragrance. All three created by the same perfumer, but today it's going to be all about the Le Vestiaire collection of fragrances. There seems to be a ton of the fragrances in this collection out there. And as much as I complain about YSL's signature line of fragrances, especially for men, I feel like this collection is very, very solid, and there's some really great fragrances. That's why I'm doing a top 10 list. A lot of older classic men's fragrances in the YSL signature lineup are kind of on their way out, discontinued and things like that, or very limited for sale in very limited places. I feel like if you're really interested in digging into YSL fragrances, the Le Vestiaire collection of fragrances is pretty solid. And you can find a ton of different variety of fragrances. In fact, this video features two types of vanilla fragrances. There's resins here, there's floral, there's definitely rose, there's definitely woods, and what else do I have? Some gourmandy touches as well. So I'll let you know what they are. Before I do though, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. Do let me know if you're a fan of this collection and which fragrances are your favorites. How many fragrances do you have from this collection? If you don't have any fragrances from this collection, which one have you been thinking about getting? Do let me know, put a comment down below. We're gonna go ahead and get started at number 10. It's YSL's Blouse, this one right here. Believe this is a feminine targeted release. In fact, this was recently featured in a video of alternatives for Delina, Parfums de Marly's Delina. This is Blouse, created by the same perfumer that created Delina. It's Quentin Bisch, launched in 2018. And yes, it is kind of sort of in that ballpark of smelling like Delina, but I feel like in this particular fragrance, the rose is more amplified. So if you like the idea of Delina and that kind of fruity, rosy, lightly creaminess that's in that fragrance, and you want more of a rosy presence, definitely try Blouse from this particular collection. So it features rose, it features Angelica, there's pink pepper, there's bergamot, there's galbanum, white musk, cashmeran. So it's not necessarily a dupe of Delina, but it definitely reminds me of Delina, and I feel like the formula is kind of there, and Quentin took it into a different direction. He added some green layers to it, he intensified the rose as I said, and there's a bit of a vegetal touch in here as well, especially from the Angelica and Galbanum, and a powdery touch, and of course very, very musky. So that's the way the fragrance wears on me. It does hint at Delina, it's not identical, but we're starting off the list with Blouse from YSL. This most likely is a feminine targeted release. I believe the rest of the collection is unisex. Then we're going to a fragrance called Trench. This one right here, launched in 2015, I shouldn't say 2016. So this is created by Amandine Clerc-Marie. And this particular fragrance to me is a very clean, soapy, powdery fragrance, almost reminiscent of some powdery fragrances from Prada, especially like Prada Pour Homme for men, the one with the purple juice. Kind of reminds me of that. It's sweet but not overly sweet, but also, as I said, very soapy and clean, but overdose on powders. And it features notes of Ambrette seed, Fir Absolute, cedar wood, iris, neroli, bergamot, tangerine, and fig. For me, I feel like the iris is adding that powdery layer to this fragrance, along with the Ambrette seed, and also the iris, and of course some musk also creates very powdery touches. So it's a very, very powdery fragrance. And then of course that neroli that comes in here with the citruses creates for a soapiness. Really great fragrance. Sadly, I like the other fragrances a little more, so it's ended up here, but definitely I prefer it more than Blouse, because Blouse totally leans feminine. This one might come off a bit feminine, but to me it's really, really great if you're looking for an alternative to something like like Amber Pour Homme from Prada. I think it's Amber Pour Homme in the purple juice, kind of the square bottle. A different take on it than try Trench from YSL. So that's at number 9. The next fragrance I'm going to talk to you about, sadly, I don't know the status of this particular fragrance. I think it's still selling in Europe. I don't think it's selling here. This is at number 8, VINYLE. This one right here, VINYLE or VINYLE. It's 2016, Juliette Karagueuzoglou, I think is how you say her name. This is a very interesting vanilla fragrance. This is one of 2 vanilla fragrances. The other one is Baby Cat. But this one to me definitely has that kind of vinyl-y touch of a vanilla. And I think they did a good job with this one. I just don't think it clicked with people. That's why they probably removed it from the States. It could even be discontinued by now, but I had it in my collection and I wanted to highlight it. But it's vanilla, myrrh, resins, licorice root, immortelle, pink pepper, bergamot. So I feel like the notes really do work wonderfully together. The myrrh adds some resinous touches and amberiness to the fragrance, and a bit fizziness as well. There's definitely a bit of a fizzy touch. The licorice throws in something a bit green and lightly boozy in here. Immortelle, kind of a caramelized brown sugary touch, because it totally makes sense. In here, it really does complement the vanilla. Some spice and citrusy touches as well. And to me, it really does have a kind of a plasticky, vinyl-y presence for a vanilla fragrance. So I feel like they did a good job, or the perfumer, did a good job with creating VINYLE from YSL. So VINYLE at number 8. Let me know if you're a fan of the 3 fragrances I've discussed so far in this video. I'd like to find out. Alright, I wanted to mention that there's a little bit of a confusing thing about this collection for me. They have different sized bottles and different colors, so I don't understand. The next fragrance is one of 3 fragrances that I have in this video in the kind of golden metallic, very reflective bottles in this collection. They also have a collection of 3 fragrances with complete black bottles, so I kind of don't understand what the differences are and why they do this. But this next one is Supreme Bouquet from YSL, of course, and this is the first of 2 fragrances created by Dominique Ropion, and this came out in 2017, and this is a white floral balm. I feel like if you're into white flowers, you gotta try this one. It's also a bit amber floral, because there's definitely an ambery presence, and of course there's lots of woods in here as well. So it's white flower, amber, woody experience if you like that sort of thing. I feel like this is also, I believe this is unisex targeted, but it leans feminine, of course, because of the white flowers. I always associate white flowers with women. This I think would make a great wedding day fragrance for a woman that's getting married. It's really beautiful. It's spring-like, but it also has some depth because it's not very fresh, if that makes sense. If it's really fresh, it doesn't have the lingering power and the longevity. When it has the woods and the amber, for me, those are the kind of fragrances that will last. And of course, it's all fresh up top. You've got Tuberose here, amber, Ylang-Ylang, woods, patchouli, pink pepper, and bergamot. I'm noticing pink pepper is in a lot of the fragrances in this collection, and I like that kind of depth and spice that pink pepper adds to fragrances. And always in this one, and also in Blouse, pink pepper is present here. It really is a great contrast to floral notes, I think. There's definitely the spice and a little bit of a floral touch with pink pepper. Anyway, Supreme Bouquet at number 7, created by Dominique Ropion. Next going to Splendid Wood, this one right here. So Splendid Wood used to be part of a square bottle collection. They moved this here to this collection, which I was hoping that Noble Leather would move into this collection as well. I have the Noble Leather in the square bottle. It's one of my favorite leather fragrances, and I only have like 1/3 left in there. It's leather with dried fruits. It's super delicious and very wearable leather fragrance, but that one never made it. This one did. Originally launched in 2014 in the square bottles, moved into the Le Vestiaire collection in 2017. This is created by Amandine, Clerc-Marie, and Marie Salamagne, 2 perfumers. We've already heard Amandine Clerc-Marie with Trench, this one right here. She did this fragrance, and now it's Splendid Wood. To me, Splendid Wood is definitely a woody oud fragrance, and that's basically it. It does have that kind of Middle Eastern styling to it as well, that you would expect in very woody fragrances that kind of like are associated with Middle Eastern fragrances. So it's definitely here, and I do think it's a job well done. It's just, I always mention that I kind of find boring these kind of fragrances where they're focusing on the oud and the wood, and there's not a lot of things. Like for me, oud, wood, and also something like rose really does make for a better, a more interesting wearing experience. And these kind of fragrances do kind of sort of become linear a little bit. This one has loads of oud along with cedar, cypriol, cardamom, incense, rose, and jasmine sambac. There's the mention of rose here. For me, it's not necessarily uber rosy. It's not a prominent note. There's traces of it there. For me, it's mostly about the oud, mostly about the cedar wood and the cypriol with that spice of cardamom. Anyway, Splendid Wood at number 6. Still a great fragrance. I do recommend it. Moving on to a one that used to be my favorite in this collection. The first 2 fragrances I bought from this collection. I don't know why I can't open this. Oh yeah, it's kind of coming apart. Sometimes these bottles, the part of it gets stuck in here, so it kind of... Anyway, I bought Caftan and VINYLE, both from Neiman Marcus here, from my friend and sales associate Colleen. If you ever need to buy anything from there, go call her, or visit her at Neiman Marcus. And it used to be my favorite fragrance. To me, it's a very resinous and ambery fragrance. Also, it has loads of benzoin, so if you're into the idea of benzoin, this is definitely a great fragrance. Launched in 2015, created by Khalees Becker. It's benzoin, frankincense, labdanum, styrax, musk, clementine, pink pepper. There's that pink pepper again. Funny that it appears in a lot of the fragrances. That's too funny. But benzoin is a great resin. It's kind of vanillic, but not necessarily vanilla. It's sweet, but not necessarily sugary sweet, which is a great fragrance. For me, this benzoin, and also something like Benjoin Bohème and Benzoin 19 and a few other benzoin focused Bois d'Harmonie are kind of sort of in that similar style. If you like those fragrances, you're probably going to like this one. And of course, the frankincense throws in a little bit of a smokiness, the incense touch. Labdanum along with benzoin creates for that amber touch along with the styrax too. And of course, there's that clementine, like an oranginess in here, along with musk and pink pepper. Really delicious fragrance. Caftan at number 5. Let me know if you're a fan of the last 3 fragrances I spoke to you about. Do let me know, put a comment down. Alright, up next at number 4, it's Rouge Velours, this one right here. The super delicious patchouli and rose combo. I really love this rose and patchouli combo a lot. Just like fragrances with oud and rose, I really like that combo. Here with patchouli and rose, they make for a super delicious wearing experience. This to me is a chypre styling. It smells like a chypre. I feel like there's oak moss in here. It smells a little classic, really lovely. This came out in 2021. Last year. I don't know who the perfumer is. I haven't been able to find a perfumer's name for this one, but it definitely features notes of patchouli, lots of rose, and there's that pink pepper again. Pink pepper, jasmine, vetiver, iris, musk, white tea. Yeah, I do experience the white tea. There's definitely a coziness about this one here, but there's woods, there's powdery touches, a bit muskiness, and some floralcy from the jasmine. But I feel like for me, the patchouli, rose, and pink pepper are dominating here, and it's a super delicious fragrance. Really lovely. I really need to know who the perfumer is. If anybody knows, do let me know. Put a comment down. It wears beautifully on me. It's also very long lasting, which I like about this particular fragrance, and it makes for a great wearing experience. It's for me, the patchouli and rose in this color kind of, I don't know, for some reason I associate with a vampire. I don't know why that is. It has kind of like a gothic kind of Transylvania-esque mood about it. Anyway, Rouge Velours, YSL. Wonderful fragrance, really love that. Moving on, I don't have the fragrance here. I've got the box. I've lent it to a relative and I haven't brought it back here. It's Tuxedo. So Tuxedo is at number 3, created by Juliette Karagueuzoglou once again. We heard her name come up for VINYLE, and I feel like VINYLE did not do so well, but Tuxedo has done really well. And so Tuxedo is at number 3. I really like Tuxedo because it's a very unique ambery fragrance, It's got the ambery vanillic touches, but also has some spices and other notes to kind of like make for a uniqueness, because it's featuring notes of violet leaves along with ambergris. You've got coriander, you've got rose, patchouli, bourbon vanilla, black pepper, coriander. No pink pepper in this particular fragrance, but I feel like the alternative for this one, the Rocha Mustache, the ADP, they mentioned pink pepper in the notes there. So it could be pink pepper, it could be black pepper. They're very similar to me, but in this case, it's very unique with that violet leaves. It adds a kind of an ozonic touch to the fragrance. The ambergris along with the vanilla creates the amber touch. And it's not necessarily a sugary, sweet amber, very kind of like that drippy, molassesy kind of amber. There's definitely sweetness there, but it's more of a wearable, easier to wear kind of an amber. You know, you've got the spices in there as well, and all of that patchouli coming in there. I think it's a great scent. That's why it deserves to be at number 3. Tuxedo by YSL at number 3. So at number 2, it's getting close, it's getting close. It is Baby Cat. Number 2 is Baby Cat. I put Baby Cat here because for me it is now not a very original fragrance, but I really, really love this fragrance, really do. I really love the way it smells and the contrast. Contrasting vanilla with incense, love the idea. He did it really well. Dominique Ropion, this is the second Dominique Ropion fragrance. This came out in 2022, but he created a fragrance for a brand called Laboratorio Olfativo, and that particular fragrance, Vanagloria, reminds me of Baby Cat. So Vanagloria came out in 2021, Baby Cat in 2022, and then of course, recently got a sample of the vanilla from Amouage in the Attars. Same perfumer, Dominique Ropion, and I forgot the name. It's Vanilla Barca, I think, something like that. That also reminds me of Baby Cat. So for me, go catch my review for Baby Cat and then find out all about it. But I'm going to tell you what this one's all about. It's vanilla, olibanum, black pepper, saffron, cedarwood, suede, elemi resin, pink pepper. So this one has pink pepper and black pepper, which is kind of cool. But it has leathery touches, but more of a suede leather. It has kind of metallic gunpowdery touches in here, is what I was saying in the review. And I was also kind of distantly relating it to Laudanum Nero from the house of Tiziana Terenzi, but for me it's the wonderful contrast of vanilla with incense, olibanum, frankincense, and black pepper. And I always mention black pepper, incense, olibanum, frankincense do remind me of one another. I get incensey black touches with black pepper, and then I get black peppery touches with incense, frankincense. So they relate, and here that's what's dominating in this particular fragrance. And of course the saffron throws in that leathery touch as well. Anyway, Baby Cat at number 2. Have you guys tried Baby Cat yet? If you're having a hard time finding it, because I don't know where the hell they're selling it, they're not available at Neiman Marcus, it's not on the YSL Beauty website. I have a link to the purchase of Vanagloria over at Ministry of Scent in San Francisco. You can go buy that one and you know, use it in place of Baby Cat, or find an online retailer that sells samples of Vanagloria and you'll find out what Baby Cat is all about. Same perfumer, and of course similar fragrance, all three of them. Baby Cat, Vanagloria, and the Vanilla Barca from Amouage, I think all remind me of one another. I should say, I think the Amouage is called Vanilla Barca. I don't own it. I actually got a sample from Neiman Marcus just to see, and it does remind me of it. Double check on that, but it's in the Attars. It's created by Dominique Ropion. But moving on, the last fragrance at number 1, we got a top 10 list here. This is number 1. And this was kind of a toss-up between Baby Cat and this. This is once again in the kind of golden metallic, kind of very reflective bottles. This is Sleek Suede. It's a gourmand, and it's super delicious. It's a leather. Once again, there's leathery touches, but more leather in this one than Vanagloria for me. This is actually real leather rather than the last fragrance being a suede leather. This came out in 2017, created by Mathilde Bijou, I think that's how you say her name. It's got tan leather, warm cocoa beans, suede leather, black oud wood. Those are the notes that are credited in here. Yeah, you get the oud. Yeah, you get the leather. Definitely get the cocoa beans. I feel like there's also vanilla here. So it's kind of like a gourmand leather fragrance. And not overly gourmand, but it's there. You can totally notice it. But the leather and the gourmand notes kind of create for this beautiful, warm, ambery, but leathery, sweet touch, you know, like it's just a really beautiful fragrance. This fragrance also smells wonderful because there's definitely like something toasted in there, like toasted, could be like that they're toasting the cocoa beans or something, slightly smoked, and it could be the leather as well. But man, this is really, really great. I highly recommend it. It's Sleek Suede from the house of YSL at number 1. Anyway guys, that's all I have for you today. Top 10 YSL Le Vestiaire collection fragrances. Again, if you haven't caught my Baby Cat review, go catch it. Go watch it and find out all about Baby Cat. It's really tough and not understandable why it hasn't made it to the States yet. I mean, at least I've heard some people say it is, but it's really expensive, like $350. I paid 214 or 220 euros in Paris, but I don't see it on the YSL Beauty website, so I don't know what the hell's going on. Anyway, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Do let me know which of these you like most. Let me know which I should check out from the brand, because I know this collection is pretty expansive, lots of different fragrances, so I'm curious to see if there's anything else great out there. But either way, please like this video, please share it, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.